Well, that's my apartment block right in the centre of the picture there, and the sun's already up, although not been up for long. So I've come down to the beach to test the water, and there's one or two people about. There's a fisherman here, don't know whether he's caught anything yet, but you can see that season is definitely over here. There won't be many tourists on the beach today, although there is a restaurant and things there that looks like it might still be doing business. Might check that out later. Well, I tell you, the water is not that cold, but I think I'm going to have to walk out quite a long way before I can actually get in, and that is a significant disadvantage, because it would be nice just to get into deep water, have a quick swim, and then get out. But it's not going to happen, so it's a long wait, and all the locals, of course, are all dressed up in their winter woolies. I'm just wading out into the water. I've got my GoPro with me because I know that none of you are going to believe me that I was in the Black Sea in October unless I produced the evidence. Now, fortunately, this GoPro is good for the water, good to 30 feet allegedly. We're soon going to find out. Well, the ducks are enjoying it. The local over there is thinking, who is that idiot? There's another one over there. He's thinking, who is that idiot? There we go. Right. Oh god, this is not good. It's getting shallower again. There's a sandbar here. Right. Enough. I'm getting in. Swim, and I see if I can duck under, see what we can see. Actually, it's rather nice. It's not cold at all. Don't know what they're complaining about. With a name like Constanta, you would expect this town to have quite strong connections with Rome, but unexpected to see a statue of Ovid and a modern building built with Roman architectural themes. Now, this building here has got Roman arches instead of Gothic or Norman arches, which is interesting, and it's a curious mix because those buildings over there again have got Roman arches, but yet a more almost to them, and certainly that's got a baroque look to it over there. So interesting. And as you would expect, because the place was under Turkish occupation for a long time, there's a mosque with its rocket factory. I'm not sure what this magnificent building on the seafront was originally built for, but at some stage during its life it was obviously used as a casino. It's not being used at the moment and is in desperate need of a bit of renovation. Well, continuing the Roman theme, here's a little statue of Romulus and Remus and their she-wolf who nurtured them. If you want any further evidence of how the Romanians like to connect themselves with the Romans, then look no further than this statue of Carmen Sylva, dressed in Roman robes. Actually, Carmen Sylva was a German princess who, in the 19th century, married King Carol I of Romania, who was himself actually a German prince. But she used the name Carmen Sylva as a literary name because she was a prodigious author of papers, poetry, plays and books, and she needed a name to write under, which she did. But here's the example of how they like to connect themselves with Rome. Well, I'm out for a little day trip to the northern side of Constanta, and this is really the sort of resort area, and it's a huge long beach interrupted with a few piers and things. And actually there are one or two people in the water up here, and my friend Peter went in yesterday. On my word that it was 21 or 22. He was convinced that it wasn't, but I'm sure it was. And it's not just for the fact that I'm from Canada and it all seems warm anyway. And actually there's a nice southerly wind today, and that's nice and warm as well. And there's these rock barriers all along the beach here that keep it protected from the worst of the waves during the storms, I imagine. It's all dead now, of course, because the season is well and truly over. But I'm going to ride right the way up the coast today. Well, it's been an interesting little ride up the 10 or 12 kilometres from the centre of Constanta, and this northern end there's a lot of building going on, and here front and centre is a brand new 5-star resort, Phoenix Resorts, beside it a 4-star one, and on the other side an older block of apartments, which is rather nice. Now this is, and probably never will be, Miami or Hawaii or Surfer's Paradise or anything, not that you'd ever want it to be, but actually, putting all that sort of thing aside, the attraction of the sea here for me, and I mean the Black Sea in general, not just Constanta or anything like that, is the fact that it's almost landlocked, not quite of course, because it's got a choke point at the Dardanelles and another choke point at Gibraltar to protect it from the open oceans. But But what that means is, up here at the real top end of the chain, the salt content of the sea is only 18% of the open ocean. Now that makes for very pleasant bathing, and when I was in it yesterday it was very noticeable that the salt content was very low. Not quite fresh water, of course, but it's not surprising because some huge rivers feed into this sea. Of course, the greatest of which is the one I've just been riding down, the Danube, the second largest river in all of Europe. But the Dniester and the Dnieper and other great rivers all drain into it. And the other interesting fact is that beneath about 200 metres, and the Black Sea goes down to more than about 2,200 metres, but beneath about 200 metres there's virtually no life in the sea at all because the oxygen content of the water is very low, apparently. But find that interesting. Well, this is the end of the promenade along the beach. It's been 20 kilometres, and over there is an inlet into a canal and a big lagoon which lies inland. And now I'm going to go all the way back, find somewhere for lunch on the way. Now this can only be one thing. There's no inscription or anything, no words anywhere in or around this huge statue. But the meaning is quite clear. Obviously she represents freedom and liberty, and on this side there are the soldiers carrying weapons, modern weapons, and many of them dressed as Russians and holding Russian weapons, so clearly celebrating the communist liberation of Romania from the influence of the Nazis. And on the other side it's a similar picture of peasant people following the liberators. So I thought I'd show you a little of the old town at Constanta. The modern city, the city that was built after the Second World War by the communists, is huge and is elsewhere, but this is the old town centred around the old port, and they're doing quite a lot of work to restore it, and it's a bit touristy, no real shops and things, but lots of restaurants and bars and all that sort of stuff which you would expect from a place which is designed primarily for tourists. Really quite nice architecture about. It's interesting that their priority for restoring buildings seems to be that they place a great deal of importance of their churches and things, and I think religion is in the form of Orthodox Christianity, although I'm pointing at a mosque here, is actually quite important in modern Romanian society. I've seen a lot of Orthodox priests around in cassocks. I've seen an awful lot of money being spent on renovating churches, but a lot of beautiful old buildings actually requiring a lot of work and a lot of money, and they don't seem to be much of a priority at the moment, although there is a certain amount of work being done on ones here at the moment. But you can see quite clearly the connections with the Eastern Roman Empire. Not only is the country named after Rome, Romania, but the city I'm in, Constanta, of course, is named after Constantine, the founder of the Eastern Roman Empire. And you can sense this connection in Romania even today. It's a lovely old building here, but look at it, it's really in need of some urgent work. I'll just show you this view. The old town is down there. You can see the rocket by the mosque, which we passed earlier, and you can see the marina area, but you can't see the port itself, which is beyond, and actually today in the mist. But here is the beach in this part, and I'm further up the coast here, about another 3 or 4 k's. But this is the area where Peter and Kate stayed. They're just round the corner here. So this is just a little bit further on, and I suppose it's an example of one of the leafy suburbs overlooking the ocean, or the sea I should say, where I suspect once, and perhaps even still, the wealthier inhabitants of Constanta live. Some fine old buildings here, and obviously some have been knocked down and replaced with more modern ones, but anyway, an example of one of the leafy suburbs of Constanta.